You're listening to the Bob Dutko Show. Okay, I was talking about this earlier today, and I want to talk about it again now. Joe Biden addressed the nation, and he talked about crime. He says, we got to get a handle on crime in this country. And so what he does, he goes to the podium, and he goes through kind of an incoherent, with all due respect, the cognitive decline issue should be concerning to people. But anyway, he basically talks about, here's what we need to do to lower crime in this country. And I'm thinking, oh, good. He's going to talk about the defunding the police effort, right? And how we need to stop this nonsense of reducing police on the street. Nope, that's not the issue. That's not the problem. Okay, he's finally going to take seriously Black Lives Matter and Antifa and the rioting and such. No, that's not the issue. He's finally going to speak out against the no bail release policies of these Democrat-run cities, putting the criminals right back on the streets with no bail. Nope, not going to address that. He's finally going to address these Democrat city policies of prosecutors refusing to bring charges against people who commit crimes, rioting, looting, and such. Nope, not going to be that. No. Who's the bad guy? Gun stores in America. Gun stores in America, that we have to make sure that we got stiffer penalties for these, what he calls rogue gun stores, that are possibly, we need to make sure that a gun store isn't selling guns to people without doing a background check on them that they're supposed to do. Or if somebody is illegally, if they're legally impermissible to buy a gun, they're not permitted to buy a gun, well, I'm going to go ahead and sell them a gun anyway. Okay, so what he's doing is basically trying, with a broad brush, to tar gun stores in America, to say that's really the problem with crime in this country, that we're not cracking down on gun stores enough. You talk about disconnected from reality. Well, we're going to talk about this now with Mike Barbour. Mike Barbour is the owner of Top Gun Shooting Sports. You hear them on this show, of course. By the way, great store. They've got the largest indoor shooting range in the state of Michigan, and just a tremendously well-known and popular, huge gun store in America. He's with me in studio right now. Mike, good to see you.
How you doing, Bob?
You're the bad guy, my friend.
I know.
Okay, it's your fault. All the crime in America is your fault. Okay, first, can we establish something? Okay, I cannot even imagine, Mike, somebody coming in there buying a gun and you being like, hey, wink, wink, I'm not going to run a background check on you. Just take it. Or, oh, wait a second here. We see you're flagged on the list where it's actually illegal for you to buy a gun. You're not allowed to purchase one because you're a felon or whatever the case is, but wink, wink, we'll sell you one anyway. I mean, you would fire any of your employees if they ever tried to do something like this. So I just, personally, it makes my eye twitch that gun stores in America have to be having the finger pointed at them and try to create the perception that you guys somehow have blood on your hands for the increase in crime in this country, when, frankly, I would call it liberal, left-wing, Democrat-run cities and stupid policies that are enabling the carjackers and the thieves and the murderers and the robbers to high-five themselves because there's less police on the streets. That's my rant. But what do we do, Mike, with these the rogue gun store claim that he made? I'm not saying there aren't rogue people out there, but what is the truth here?
Listen, Bob, there's dealers that will go way above and beyond, and there's some dealers that do the minimum because they don't believe the ATF should even exist.
Right.
But that being said, all of those dealers already have to follow ATF federal guidelines, or they're going to lose their license, period.
Right.
Not doing a background check, come on somebody, I'll sell it to you out the back door. There's all kinds of processes and checks and balances when we go through inspections that can't happen.
Don't you have to account for the serial number of that vehicle?
Yeah, every serial number has to be, we have an acquisition disposition book that all has to match up to paperwork and invoices and everything. And they come through and they do the reviews, inspections on that stuff. And 99.9% of every gun store that gets any sort of fine or whatever, it's usually clerical paperwork errors. So now you get into not just, the people that he's claiming they're going to sell out the back door, wink, wink, Doesn't happen. I'm sorry. It doesn't happen, Joe. Shut up.
Right.
Okay? It's false. It's a false narrative. The bigger one is they're very vague on the intentional paperwork errors and, in those type of things. Okay, so now I got an ATF agent in my store that most of them are all pretty good guys, just like most law enforcement. But David Chipman, who they're about to put in the head of the ATF, is extremely anti-gun. And if they have a chip on their shoulder, see how I did that?
I know. I like that.
If they do and they don't like our store or they don't like guns, then maybe they would take an approach a little bit different to say, well, I believe you had intentionally done this versus it was an honest clerical paperwork type of a mistake. So one of those violations, and now you potentially could put me out of business because I could lose my license and my livelihood.
Right.
And that's a bigger thing. I have 35 employees. Do you think for me to make $100 or something on a gun, wink, wink, out the back door, is worth me losing my license for my income, my family's income, and my 35 employees?
Right.
No, there's no way.
And this is where you're absolutely right. I mean, this guy gets in charge of ATF. You can, if he's anti-gun, as we know that he is, yes, he can take anything that are honest clerical mistakes that anybody's going to make and try to claim that it's something nefarious in there. All he has to do is do that. To me, this seems like a sneaky, weaselly way to try to put a bunch of gun stores in America out of business.
Right.
See if I can strip them of their licenses, because I don't care who you are. When you have millions and millions of documents day after day after day across the country in gun stores across America and I's and T's crossed, there's going to be the occasional clerical error. There's going to be the occasional, oh wait, this file's supposed to go into that file. Oh wait, this T wasn't crossed. Oh wait, this was on this line. It's supposed to be. There's always going to be something stupid like that.
Sure.
Okay. Unless you're Jesus, you're not going to be perfect. Okay. But that is a far cry. You're right. From wink, wink, let me sell something out the back door to stick an extra $100 in my pocket. That is absurd. But yeah, I see this being used to come after guys like you, Mike.
Yep. And I'll even go one further. He is going to provide a whole bunch of COVID funds to now fund the police departments to do all these different mental health things and so on. But for the past year and a half, it's all been about defunding the police and holding them responsible for every social justice issue out there and so on. And now they want to give them funding under the guise of gun control. And when Republicans say, no, we don't want this. Oh, you don't want to fund the police? You're trying to defund the police. You guys are the ones that are doing this, not us. I mean, come on.
All right. So is this guy going to get in? I mean,
about in 2 hours ago, they had a 11-11 vote.
all right.
That then now it sends it to basically to the House floor Senate floor. I think it is
Senate floor.
the Senate floor for a vote, which hopefully it wasn't going to get to that point, and now it's inching closer.
All right, so we'll see. And actually, let's talk about ATF a little bit. Even the definition of firearms. I mean, there's a redefining of firearms. I hear terms like assault weapons all the time, military-style weapon and whatever, and assault weapons and such. What do you see in Mike going on as far as the kind of redefining even of firearms?
There's two things that the ATF has done. They've opened up what they call comment periods, open comment periods, that they, every time they're going to have to change definitions and policies within the agency, which do not require any votes by the House or Senate or any bills or anything of that nature. They're just internally changing things, which they shouldn't be able to do in the first place. But they have to have a 90-day comment period. They did the first one in December, and it was against arm braces on AR-15 pistols and other smaller pistol type firearms. And the braces were initially designed to help, with handicapped people and so on, and then shooting that larger firearm handgun in, with one hand.
Right.
They got so many comments in December, and it was a one-page definition change. They pulled it after 6 weeks.
Okay.
Didn't get to the 90 days. Now they've reintroduced it recently. And now it's 75 pages.
Okay.
And it's not only going to ban arm braces, which people have invested anywhere from $80 to $400 on these products for the past 10 or so years. And there's probably, I think it's like over 8 million on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ban them now, you're just taking, I mean, we're getting into, all kinds of different amendment, confiscating your material, your private owned, items and those type of things.
Right.
You're getting into a lot of other issues with this, with no compensation. You just have to destroy them, or you have to register the firearm as a short-barreled rifle. All these different things. So the problem is that it's not only doing the arm braces, it's going into redefining any of those type of firearms and making those illegal too. So it's not just about arm braces. It's making a lot of commonly owned pistols out there now illegal. And then they have a second comment that started a little bit before, and that is redefining the definition of a firearm. And they claim it's about ghost guns. But it is going to redefine definition of an AR-15, how many serial numbers have to be on all the different parts. If you own any firearm, any handgun, you will not be able to buy an aftermarket barrel or change a trigger. There's all kinds of things that you will not be able to do anymore to your guns unless you go through an extensive process. So if anybody thinks that those two common things are just about arm braces and ghost guns, you're mistaken.
That's a great point.
So, and we've got on our website, as you can go through our website, you can go to our Facebook, and then you guys also on our Top Gun page on WMUZ have the links. And I urge everybody to go comment to the ATF. The more comments, it might not stop it, but when the legal cases come up afterwards, it's going to give the lawyers more ammunition to fight that, saying that we had this many people that said they don't want this.
Good point. And by the way, the website, folks, WMUZ.com/Top Gun. All right, WMUZ.com/Top Gun. It'll take you right there. You can see it. And I got to say, Mike, too, you increase ridiculous, unnecessary regulations on guns, and you make guns more expensive. You know who that hurts more than anybody else? Low-income people, okay? Poor people that just want to protect their families, or low-income people that they're trying to do a little bit of sport with gun, plus protect their families, and they can't afford it. Rich people, they're like, I don't care. If I have to pay more for a gun, so what? It's the poor people. Does that matter? Seems like the Democrats should care about that. So,
absolutely, and if you don't want to do it, they're going to make you a felon overnight.
Right, absolutely. Mike, hang on a second. Short break. We're going to continue this conversation next. More with Mike Barbour. He is the owner of Top Gun Shooting Sports. And again, go to their website through WMUZ. You can go to WMUZ.com/Top Gun. And by the way, if you haven't seen them, stop out and see for yourself. They're on Pennsylvania, just east of Telegraph and Taylor. Phenomenal store. You'll love it there. But a little bit more with Mike Barbour next here on the Bob Dutko Show.